Hello, everyone, and welcome to a brand new episode of The Left Side View with me, Amitabh, and my partner in crime, Rahul. So, this is our weekly episode wherein we review the updates of whatever has happened in the world of professional wrestling. Rahul, where do we start?
I think we can begin with Monday Night Raw, like we usually start. Uh, the show started with Brock Lesnar. He came out, gave his promo, the usual promo that he's the new champ. Just when we were thinking that where this promo would go, we had an interruption from Paul Heyman, who was like, uh, I mean, we all know that there's going to be a match between these two at WrestleMania, but then Paul Heyman made it sound like even though the match is going to be there, but it's not going to be a title versus title match because Brock Lesnar will probably lose to someone, maybe Bobby Lashley or whoever challenges him in. I think next Saturday they have a house show in Madison Square Garden. So let's see if that happens. There's another thing that was the conclusion of this video, which is that Brock Lesnar decided that he would show up now on the episode of SmackDown in Hershey, Pennsylvania, and have a face-to-face with Roman Reigns. So I think that's what happened. I think other than that, there's not really much to talk about here, but we can probably move to the main event. I think there are some exciting options, especially when it comes to the tag team division on Raw. We've got Alpha Academy, who are the champs. They are supposed to have a rematch with RK Bro, but then there's another team, or rather a makeshift team of Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins. That's actually doing pretty well. Again, two very talented performers. So it looks like that they could also be added to this match, which is what the caveat of the condition was. That Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins will take on RK Bro in the main event of Raw. And if somehow they manage to beat them, then they would also be added to the tag team match to make it a, a triple threat match. So that's what the main event was. And again, I think four performers: Riddle, Orton, Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens. All four are so talented. So we were obviously supposed to have a great match, which is what we did. Uh, but in the end, again, story-wise, in a way, it makes sense to add these two. So Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins beat RK Bro, uh, and now it's going to be a triple threat match for the tag team division. In a way, it also makes sense to, let's say, put the titles on them. Let's see what happens. But yeah, that's actually what I want to talk about when it comes to Raw. Uh, Anything that you want to add here?
Yeah, I mean, the Lesnar Heyman segment was actually inconsequential because no matter how loud Heyman wants to shout that this may not be a title versus title, but WWE have already publicized, advertised that it will be a title versus title. They've also gone on and said that it will be they'll be unifying the belts. So, and to top it all off, who do you see as someone who can defeat Brock Lesnar? I mean, at least I can't see anyone who is in the current roster. Coming back to the tag team division, I think WWE has given themselves an additional option because the fact is that RK Bro versus Alpha Academy has been like run to the ground. The feud has gone stale. Maybe they just want to freshen things up, and also that they don't really have a storyline for Owens and Rollins now. So maybe they again, just giving themselves an extra option. Maybe they'll take it to WrestleMania. This feud, all three of them. There have been rumors that maybe Owens will face against Austin. So whatever that is, again, but if that happens, then they would have to find someone for Seth Rollins also. And I don't know who is working there for the betterment of the product. All they are concerned about is the Reigns Lesnar showdown. So yeah, something intelligent they have done at least for themselves as far as putting these Owens and Rollins into the tag team scene. Rahul?
Yeah, I think we can probably move on to Raw. From Raw, we can probably talk about NXT. We had Dolph Ziggler showing up on Raw. He took on Tommaso Ciampa to determine the number one contender to Braun Breaker's NXT Championship. And in a way, it made sense. Obviously, like these two, Tommaso Ciampa, Dolph Ziggler, they're both great wrestlers, both workhorses. So we had a great match between the two. But then we have seen Tommaso Ciampa versus Braun Breaker twice before, and we probably will see a third as well. Uh, but then maybe now is not the time for that match. So in a way, obviously Dolph Ziggler wouldn't really show up on NXT, you know, only to lose, I guess. So, or at least to lose to Tommaso Ciampa. Maybe the money is in a way when he takes on Braun Breaker to maybe even if you do, because even if you lose to Braun Breaker, and in a way he's at least elevating Braun Breaker. So yeah, he beat Tommaso Ciampa with a distraction, with an interference from Bobby Roode, who was disguised as a cameraman, who hit Tommaso Ciampa with his camera, and yeah, when the referee was not looking. So yeah, Dolph Ziggler won, and it was a 2-on-1 attack on Tommaso Ciampa, only for Braun Breaker to make the save. So it looks like next week we're probably going to see a tag team match between uh, Dirty Dogs, that is Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode versus Braun Breaker and Tommaso Ciampa. And in the main event of NXT Takeover, I think, or NXT Stand and Deliver, whatever they want to call them these days, it's going to be Dolph Ziggler versus Braun Breaker for the NXT Championship. Anything that you want to add here, or do you want to move on?
Yeah, I mean, a good storyline in the making, perhaps the best one that WWE has on its hand right now. Again, Ziggler as a competitor has been totally wasted on Raw and SmackDown. I mean, just to think of around 5, 7, 8 years back, he was their world champion, and this is what the state of affairs is right now for him. So yeah, a fresh rivalry, a fresh story. Looking forward to it. Rahul?
Yeah, we can probably move on to SmackDown now. We had a promo between Sami Zayn. He was interrupted by then Johnny Knoxville, and again we're gonna have Johnny Knoxville versus. It looks like we're gonna have Johnny Knoxville versus Sami Zayn for the Intercontinental title. The less said, the better. And then the main
I
event.
mean, I don't know which sane wrestling audience, wrestling fan is actually looking forward to this feud. Maybe only Vince and his yes men are. I mean, it's the Intercontinental Championship that we're talking about, and this is the respect that WWE is giving to their own, often said second most important title. So yeah, we can move on.
And then we had the main event between the promo, the contract signing.
Yeah, so we had the contract signing for Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns, and yeah, the ring was full of security. And yeah, they signed the contract. Reigns got out of the ring. He said that, yeah, this is my yard and whatever. And Brock then, went ahead and had an unnecessary fight with the security officials, maybe trying to prove a point to Roman. So that is how it ended. Let's see, WWE will. They have already taken the juice out of the feud, as far as I am concerned, and again, a totally unnecessary, or let's say non-value added segment in this rivalry, even if it has been played out to shreds till now. Uh, this segment again just shows the lack of imagination, and we'll be talking about imagination when we discuss AEW now. And
Actually,
again,
before we do, so there are just, I mean, obviously, I have a lot of problem with this feud, but then there are two which are main. One is, I understand the title versus title thing, but then they're unifying the titles now. So that means that going forward, they're only going to have one title, one world champion, which is again doesn't make any sense. And an even bigger problem is that they're making this to be like the biggest WrestleMania main event of all time. I mean, they were already like, this is bigger than Rock versus Austin. This is already bigger than Hogan versus Under the Giant, but it's not. It's clearly not. You can still kind of put Brock Lesnar in that category, but you cannot put Roman Reigns in that category. Nothing against Roman Reigns. I'm not saying that he's not good. He's good, but then he's not the best. He's not in that category. He's not a Rock. He's not an Austin. He's not an Undertaker. He's not a Shawn Michaels.
see, as far as billing the rivalry or advertising it as the best match ever, that is what they're supposed to do. I can give them a pass there, because even when they had a Cena versus Rock match once in a generation, and then they had it the next year as well. So uh, that is still okay, but unifying the title, most likely they'll introduce a new title on Monday after WrestleMania. So that is, they just want a clear-cut winner here, I guess. And I don't even see that happening, because if Brock has to put Roman over, I don't even see that happening, quite frankly. Maybe he will, because obviously he doesn't care and all that. But they have done everything in their power to, show Roman's character as someone who is, all powerful, almighty, and all that, but clearly does not come across like that. So yeah, I think we can move on to AEW.
Yeah, we can now move on, to something that actually was nice to see. Some interesting storylines, some creative expression, some great imagination. We can start with AEW and the tag team match that we had to determine one of the contenders to face off against Jurassic Express. We had so many tag teams in a battle royale. I think, and the rules are also a little bit different here, Amitabh. So I think in Raw or in WWE, if there's a match like this, as soon as one of the competitors is eliminated, the entire team is. But that's not the case in AEW. For a team to be eliminated, both of the members need to be eliminated. So yeah, we had a back and forth. Obviously, we would, because we had so many competitors in the ring at the same time. I think in the end we had 4 teams. It was FT. It was, I think, FTR. It was Dark Order. It was Young Bucks.
It was FTR, Young Bucks, Red Dragon, and even I forget.
And a Red Dragon, Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly. Yeah.
Yeah. So Bobby Fish actually he took out FTR, remember, when he was on the apron. So and so the Red Dragon and the Young Bucks, they were actually working in tandem. I mean, that is what at least the Young Bucks thought. And then O'Reilly feigned a shoulder injury, and when Young Bucks they were trying to put the other team over, he just came and pushed both the individuals out, and hence they won. So at the end of the match, the Young Bucks faced off against the Red Dragon, and they were seeking answers to. We were working again, every man for himself, but still a little bit of storytelling was going on. And then what happened when the Red Dragon actually attacked Adam Page here, Adam Hanman Page last week. So he came out and then he beat the hell out of the Red Dragon tag team. And Young Bucks, who were clearly aggrieved on about the actions that the Red Dragon had taken, so they just shrugged off and they went away. So that is how that segment ended. Rahul?
Yeah, but then again, Adam Cole came out to, again, maybe a 3-on-1 attack in a way, and that's when Adam Page's team, in a way, Dark Order came out to even the odds, and yeah, in the end, they were the one who was standing. So yeah, it's gonna be, and then Adam Page actually cut a great promo, instead of taking the book out of Adam Cole's playbook, that who's ready for story time with, instead of Adam Cole, Adam Page. So yeah, he was like, we're gonna have a match and he's gonna win and all that stuff. So obviously it's gonna be a great feud. I think great promos as well that we're gonna see at Revolution. Already looks to be a stacked card. Now we can probably move on to the next one, which is a great promo, I think, from one of your favorites, MJF.
That kid is so talented. Oh my God. Now there are 2 things here. I mean, more than 2 things, but let me just try and uh, articulate whatever I felt when I watched that. The first thing was, in the initial 1.5, 2 minutes, the crowd was booing and hissing. But this guy, MJF, carried on. And then he had the whole crowd, he just had their attention. And yes, he was, saying a very sorry storyline about his learning disorder, attention deficit disorder, and he was being bullied. And he also put in the Jew remark that he was bullied because he was of a particular community. And he referred to the photograph that CM Punk had shown the previous week, and he said that maybe for you it was just another fan, but for me it was life because he had a bad day at school and all that stuff, And at the end of it, when he said that you left professional wrestling and you turned your back on all your fans, including me, I will never do that. That is when the whole crowd actually started, cheering for him. And everybody knows he's the heel in this story, but the ability, the fact that he was able to get that sort of a reaction just tells you what a great promo it was. And you know, I don't know how many of our viewers actually are into Marvel and DC, but there's always a backstory to a super hero or a super villain or an anti-hero. The reason why they are who they are. And this was like a window into his character, the kind of uh, hardships that he has faced, and which has led him to be where he is right now. Um, and then to top it all off, Punk comes in. I don't think he came in with his entrance music. He just came in and he just, is any of this true? Are you serious? And all MJ said was yes, and he just went away. And I mean, just when you thought there cannot be, new angle to this feud, there they delivered. I mean, he did fumble a couple of times, and when we discussed Jericho, even he did. He actually broke character at one of Kingston's remarks. But the emotion, the intensity of that piece, that speech that he made was so high. It was so high that everybody related to that. And even though, I mean, we all know it's just acting, but it was like a one take scene and it was fantastic. Rahul?
Yeah, the reason that he left is also because he was crying. That's how much he believed in what he was saying. Again, if you won't take your promo seriously, no one else will. And something that we have seen from MJF is, be it a heel, be it a face, or whatever promo he's cutting, he always takes his promos, his work seriously, which is the reason why, in such a short amount of time, he has become one of the best talkers in the entire wrestling history, in my opinion. Great promo, and again, which is why he was obviously it's all a storyline, but then even which is why the way they showed CM Punk coming out, and even he was asking like, "Is this true?" I mean, you wouldn't really say that if Punk didn't really believe, whatever MJF was saying. That's how good MJF was.
And yes, I mean, even in his speech, he said that he practiced for hours in front of mirror. And if that is true, all his hard work is paying off right now. I mean, he had a feud with Jericho. Now he has CM Punk, two people who understand the business, who understand the psychology of the business. And he has been given this opportunity and he has just grabbed it with both hands. Awesome promo. Rahul?
Yeah, agreed. We can probably move on now to a great match between House of Black and Penta Oscuro and Tak. I think it was a great match. In the end, actually, Tak and Penta won. But then, just when there was a beatdown, Brody King was beating the hell out of these guys. The lights again faded to black. And we were like, who's coming now? Who's coming now? And then all of a sudden, it was none other than Buddy Matthews, or formerly known as Buddy Murphy, during his time in WWE. So Buddy Matthews came out. He actually had a very storied rivalry with Aleister Black, or rather Malachi Black, when they were in WWE. But this time out, we weren't really sure if he's gonna beat House of Black or gonna join them. But in the end, he hit Penta and Pac and aligned himself with House of Black. So it does kind of look like that maybe once Ray Phoenix is back, which could be another month or so, that we'll probably see a six-man tag, maybe. A House of Black, including Buddy Matthews versus Penta, Death Triangle, the entire Death Triangle, that is. So let's see if that happens. But a great match, great storyline. But at this point in time, yes, since till the time Phoenix is injured, it does look like that they will come out on top, House of Black, because of the 3-on-2 advantage.
Yeah, so two things here. First of all, yes, Buddy Matthews has jacked up. He has developed a lot of muscles, so good on him. And when you're telling a story, I think AEW has used Buddy Matthews in a more efficient manner already than his entire time at WWE. When you don't speak and you just emote through your eyes and your body language, I think that communication is far stronger. And even when Buddy Matthews appeared and he looked at both the teams, and we were not sure who he's going to attack. And even when he was, hammering down at Part and Penta. So even then there was he already displayed a little vulnerability, whether he wants to do that or not. And so all the emotions, yes, he has sided with the Blacks right now, but he has already displayed that maybe this is not going to last forever. So again, AEW, well done to them. Great debut for Buddy Matthews.
Yep.
Rahul?
Looking forward to what he can do. Obviously, we didn't really see. I don't really think he even scratched the surface when he was in WWE. So if given time and good story, then I think he's good in the ring. We all know, which is why he had so many great matches with Alistair Malachi Black in WWE. But again, with WWE, again, let's not talk about why they release so many wrestlers. But yeah, WWE has lost his AEW's game. We could probably move on to another actually a great promo, which was actually a long time coming between Chris Jericho and Eddie Kingston. So yeah, I think another promo that you've been following closely with that. But before you start, I think again, Eddie Kingston, we all know how good he is, how much struggles he's had in life to reach at the age of 39 to WWE. He's spent all his career in the Indies, maybe in Ring of Honor, but for the first time in his life, at the ripe age of 38, 39, he has uh, been signed with a company like AEW. So he's making the most of it. And again, we all know Jericho, the legend that Jericho is, one of the best of all times. So yeah, it does look like it's going to come to a head, and the end, it's going to be a match between these two at Revolution. So yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, so again, great promo by, first of all, by MGF, the mentee and now the mentor, Jericho himself. And of whatever interviews I have heard of Eddie Kingston, I mean, one statement that sticks out is, I don't have to be friends with everyone I'm working with. I do my job and then I go home. When he was asked about a couple of the wrestlers, how they are in real life. And I think Eddie was playing his character to the hilt. I mean, he was himself. He was not trying to be someone else. Yes, he has been, let's say, for the lack of a better word, stubborn, in during his life, and maybe he has not taken wise decisions. But he was trying to be that only. And Jericho, through this promo, has clearly established himself as the heel in this feud, and he put pot shots at his age and the fact that he has his first official contract at the age of 38, and Jericho was already doing all this at 22. He took pot shots at his family, his uncle and his father, and like Jericho did talk a lot in this promo. Eddie was reduced to a lot less of the verbal jabs. He did react to a lot of things that Jericho said. He also again, through his reaction, made Jericho break characters for a second, just for a split second. And yeah, again, Eddie Kingston was perhaps the reason why Inner Circle was broken in the first place. So yeah, a great feud, and really now looking forward to the match. Rahul?
Yeah, I think the question, as Jericho also mentioned, is that Eddie Kingston, with him, it's always about winning the big ones. So he's never won a big one. So maybe this is actually the big one that he's going to win. And I guess it in a way makes sense as well for Eddie Kingston to finally, be elevated to that top level tier if he beats someone like Chris Jericho. And maybe Jericho is the perfect guy, to elevate him, to put him over. Let's see.
Absolutely, absolutely, Rahul.
Yeah, probably we can move on now to another like great match and then a great promo between Bryan Danielson and Daniel Garcia. So yeah, I think again Daniel Garcia, he's what, just 22 years old. We just talked about what Jericho did when he was 22, and now Daniel Garcia, just 22, signed with AEW already, and having these great matches, amazing matches. I mean, obviously, uh, maybe for now he's just 22, so he doesn't really give so much importance to these things. But 10 years from now, he's gonna be like, oh my god, when I was 22, I already had a match, with someone like John Moxley. I already had a match with someone like Bryan Danielson. I already had a match with these guys. Like even if he stops wrestling, he'll still be like, I achieved so much. So that's the thing with Daniel Garcia. And again, he's only going to get better because if he's so good right now when he's 22, just imagine what he could do when he's 20, 28, 29, or 31. So yeah, he's only going to improve now, especially with all these guys like John Moxley, Brian Danielson coming and, providing him mentorship. A great match, but then it made sense, storytelling, story-wise as well, that, because he is aligned himself with 2.0, that not able to get the job done. But then if he was under the stewardship, under the leadership of someone like Moxley or Brian Danielson, maybe then he would even be more ruthless, more vicious, more violent, and maybe we would have a different result, which is what made sense. But then yeah, as soon as that match ended, I think 2.0 came out. It was a 3-on-1 beatdown on Brian Danielson, and then to make the save, it was none other than John Moxley. Yeah, so he got rid of 2.0 on his own, and then even gave Daniel Garcia a paradigm shift to end the proceedings, to just leave these two in the ring. Another great promo, I think. Another lovely promo, in my opinion. I think the fact that Brian Danielson was like, I don't need a chair to make you bleed. It felt so true, because you just know that that's actually true. Brian Danielson doesn't need a chair to make someone like John Moxley bleed. He has his bare hands, and that's enough for him. So yeah, Brian Danielson gave him the answer that yes, he's okay, he's ready for a match, and we're actually going to see a match now between these two at Revolution. So irrespective of who wins, it's going to be a great match. A lot of blood already guaranteed, and yeah, let's see if we're going to see these two team up after that.
Yes, Rahul, absolutely. I mean, I could not have put it myself, in a better manner. Brian Danielson said that I don't need this to make you bleed, and believe me, you'll bleed much more than me. Maybe just one person will bleed, and it's not me, something like that. So, yeah, a match that we have not seen at this level, at least previously. And again, the possibilities here are endless. It's sort of already going towards the direction that these two will form some sort of an alliance in the future. But again, before that, awesome way to start this storyline wherever they want to take this. Yeah.
I mean, another thing, there's no championship involved in this match, in this feud. There's no championship involved. Wherein someone like Sam is taking with Johnny Knoxville. But here, these two guys are so good. You don't need a championship.
Yeah, so true. So true. I mean, the real feuds actually, championship is a good way. Obviously, it is important, but just like we saw in the last decade, especially with the Undertaker matches, it was the most sought after match. Whom is he going to face next? And it never involved any championship. And some of the matches, even the CM Punk match was actually very underrated, but it was a great match. Of course, the Shawn Michaels, the first part, I guess. So obviously age was also a factor with each year. Undertaker was not at the height of his abilities. So yes, they don't have perhaps the most popular people as their champion right now, but the feuds are definitely something that again all wrestling audience are looking forward to. Rahul?
Yeah, I think we can probably move on to the Rampage match between Sammy Guevara, the TNT Championship match between Sammy Guevara and Andrade Alidolo. Again, two of the finest performers that we have. I think Andrade, again, he's just so good in the ring. And Sammy Guevara has actually gotten so much better in the past 2 years since he joined AEW. So great match, and we're actually gonna have a 6-man tag team match between these two. So it's gonna be a team of Andrade, Matt Hardy, and I think Isaiah Cassidy versus Sammy Guevara, Darby Allin, and Sting at Revolution pay-per-view. So yeah, it was a one-on-one match for the TNT Championship, and again, some questionable tactics involved. Wherein not really sure what Matt Hardy was doing there. Was he actually trying to help Andrade, or was he actually not trying to help him? Because his foot was on the rope, but then did he help him or not? But somehow it does look like that there's probably going to be some kind of dissension, friction between these two down the line. But at the end of the day, the right result was to still put the belt on Sammy, and which is what happened. He retained. So yeah, but yeah, that's what I would say. A great match, I think, for Rampage.
Yeah, maybe Jeff comes in when Andrade and Matt have their feud, if that happens. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I think that's just about WWE and AEW. We can actually talk a little bit about the news, the main news. A couple of things coming out. One was obviously Cesaro all of a sudden is a free agent. So he's a free agent. He could probably now the fact that his contract expired, which means that he doesn't really have an non-compete clause. He can show up anywhere, anytime. We've already heard from Eddie Kingston, like you mentioned earlier, that he doesn't really care about making friends. There's a real life between these two. So maybe if he shows up in AEW, that could be a great way to, revisit that rivalry. Uh, I think, yeah, like the thing is that this one just came out of the blue. No one really had any idea. No, there was no news about his contract expiring or anything. All of a sudden, Cesaro is a free agent.
Yeah, so I mean, the fact that this came out of the blue was because I mean WWE knew. That is why they had made him lose last 7 of his televised matches. He was not a part of the Royal Rumble, and again there was a time like so many others. Cesaro was so over with the crowd, and WWE did absolutely nothing with that popularity. Absolutely nothing. And okay, charisma wise, maybe he's not the best out there, but at least he put in the hard yards every night, and you cannot doubt him for his hard work, for his work ethics, and stuff like that. Definitely, there was some sort of a room in some sort of a storyline, a good storyline, but again, WWE failed to capture that audience interest in the wrestler. So good on him. All the best to him wherever he goes. And again, just would like to see him, perform to his fullest potential. Rahul?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And there's just one last piece of news. Vince McMahon is planning to come back to, compete in WrestleMania. His opponent most likely will be Pat McAfee from SmackDown commentary team. So again, maybe this is something that the boss can do. I don't see what purpose the storyline will serve, except for feed into McMahon's ego. If initially it was Shane who was accused of the same misdemeanor, trying to put himself ahead of everyone else and wanting all the spotlight, the attention on himself. I think his dad has just done the same thing. I mean, I don't think anybody will be invested in the feud or who comes out on top here. And it will just be about, one of the, I mean, for them, maybe it is a great deal, a great match to look forward to. But for us fans, I don't think so. Rahul?
Agreed. Yeah, totally agreed.
Yeah, so I think with that, we come to the end of this podcast, guys. Thank you so much for your time. Please help us, support us by liking, sharing, and commenting on our videos if you like our views. And even if there is constructive feedback, always that is always appreciated. We'll be back with our wrestling podcast next week. Thank you so much. Till then, take care. Bye bye.
And we'll be back with the second part of the review episode of the football podcast tomorrow. So yeah, thank you guys for tuning in.